Let's start today by creating a members page so that we can list out all of the users within our social network site. To do this, we can create a member controller and route and page and link and all that stuff. So why don't we start by first going over to the app HTTP controllers. And I want to create a new folder called social, and then we're going to put all of the other folders dealing with the social network specifically. We can create another folder so that we can put all of those other controllers in. I'm just going to call it social member controller. And I'm going to make it invocable because we're only going to have the one function in it. Social member controller. And as you can see here, it is invocable. So let me make this a bit bigger. Let's go over to the web routes and create that route. Now what I'm going to do is for here, I'm just going to add them in the authenticated middleware route group so that we have all of those here, because those pages should only be accessible if you're authenticated. I'm going to go ahead and add it under here. And I don't need this. And then we'll just say member controller. I'll just give it a name of members so that we have somewhere to link it to when we use it for our routes and stuff. So we'll come up here, make sure it's imported, and it is right here, the member controller. Save that, go over to the member controller, and then work on that. Now, because we're just going to initially keep this very simple, I just want to return inertia render. The folder that we're going to create is going to match where our controllers are. So it's going to be social members. And then I want to pass in the users. In this case, because they are members, we're going to call them members. And these members are just going to be the user. Make sure to import. And temporarily, I am going to say all. We're going to end up putting pagination on this, but for now, I just want to be able to see the users. For now, that's good. All I want to do is go over to the social, or go over to resources.js. Oh, let me get rid of some of these pages, and we'll go ahead and create our folder in here. So it'll be social members.view. I'll add the setup and the template. Now I want to use the basic layout that we have, so we can actually go ahead to the dashboard, and I'm just going to copy all of this, paste it here, and I didn't really need all that. Let's see. So this is going to be members. Our route is going to be members, and we can import it from here. That's good. Here we'll put members. And we'll get rid of that extra one. This we can actually get rid of too. And for now, I'm just going to put members in here, just so that we know what it's supposed to be. What I want to do is I want to create a link in our sidebar. So if we look over here, I want to have a link for members. I want to have its own icon, and I want to be able to go to that page from that link. Make sure to save that before I forget. And we can actually go to the components and the app sidebar, and that's where we can do that. Where we have this dashboard, I'm just going to copy this one, because this is where we're listing out those sidebar items. Here, I'm going to say members, make sure to import. And the icon, I believe it's just users. We'll find out from Bluesky. Okay, so that's been imported up top. Let's save it and make sure that we have that. So it's right here. Now we can click it and we're brought to the members page. let's go ahead and grab the CSS for this so that we can flesh out this page. Now, if we go and take a look at the social network package that I gave you, you can go to members here. This doesn't matter up here. I'm just going to go ahead and grab all of this because this is the styling for it. And go ahead, close that and come back here. And now we should just be able to paste this in and have that. Let's clean this up. And how are we doing this? Well, we have an H3 up here that says you're the first user, and we're going to basically show that conditionally. There are no users yet, and we are the first one. Basically, on this page, we're going to have all of our registered users, but the only one we're not going to be showing is the authenticated user. So that's why we have this here saying you're the first user, because we're not going to have any other users in here, even though we are a registered user. Let's go ahead and import these components too, which is the card content, link. We don't have anywhere to send them to yet. This is coming from Inertia.js. The avatar and avatar image. Did I put both of these? No, I just put avatar. So let's go ahead and add that as well. We'll fix this. That doesn't feel right. Where is that? Handshake. This is going to be an icon, because what I want to happen is when we're on this page, I want us to be able to see which of those users are actually our friends. We're going to have a separate friends page to list out our friends, but for this particular one, it's going to be all users, but I want to be able to specify which one is already a friend of ours so that we know that. So I want to grab that little icon and put it there. We'll end up showing that conditionally as well and get rid of that. Card content, link, all of this we should have up top already, and I'll get rid of that as well. Doesn't matter if those are there or not, they will throw up an error because we haven't added that yet, but it looks like I forgot to remove that from the file, so it is what it is at the moment. I just want to be able to see the users. Okay, let's see how we're looking. Definitely have an error. Oh, well, I also didn't bring in any users yet. That's fine. Member. Let's do this so it can clear everything. Okay, we'll bring in the header as well, and then we'll bring in our user. So let's start with the head. And let's set ourselves up for the user. I had to pause the video to figure out what was going on because this just wasn't making sense. If you take a look in our View DevTools where we have app content members, you can see that we have a props field right here. And this props is where it's going over. I'm not sure if this is new in this setup or what, but we do need to add the props in the template so that we can access this field in here. Now, earlier I did remove that because I didn't think that it was something that we were going to need. I'll have to keep an eye on it as we go through the project for these types of things. But right now I'm just going to put the props here. And then here, I'll get rid of this. And now we should be able to do props.members. And I'll also go ahead and uncomment that out. And this should be username. As I typed it out, you could see that that was the snippet. Great. So now we have this. I just need to adjust our user avatar so we can make sure that we get it correctly. Let me just make sure and see what I have here in the component avatar HTTP default. Okay, let me take a look. Well, I definitely spelled it wrong. There it is. And now we have that. I'm going to leave it like this for right now. The styling on it is fine, but I do want to create some users so that we can have some other ones. We know that this exists if there are no users other than this user. Let's adjust the controller a little bit just so that we can see what it's supposed to be like when there are no users other than the auth user. And then we'll add some new users for here. So for now, let's go over to the member controller. And instead of doing get here or all here, we'll do where. Well, actually, I'll make a variable where ID does not equal the auth ID. And then here we can do get, and also we can pass in those variables, ID, username, avatar, so that we can get those specific fields. I am going to do that. And then here we can say members so that we have that variable in here. Okay, so you are the first user, and maybe we should try to center this. I'll take it out of here. Okay, great. So let's close that and let's go ahead and seed some users into the database so that we have some in here. Now, when we set up the users initially, I believe I put it in here and we can create 10 users. Great. Nope, I don't want to do that. Seed. Okay, and if I refresh now, we have some other users in here. So we have some users, and as you can see, there are 10 users, which means now we can base this conditionally. So if there are no other members, then this should display, and if not, then we'll display the other users. Let me close this out, and then here's where we can do it. So we'll do if props members length is less than 0, we'll do that. And if not, we can do the else. Okay, great. So that's gone. We have this. So now that we have somewhere to click to once we're here. Now, the idea that I have to do this is I want to create kind of two different profiles, right? One is for the authenticated user. When we go to the dashboard, right? When we go here, this is going to be where our profile is. So all of our posts will be here. Everything revolving us will be here. Versus when we go to another user's page, they'll have their own profile page. That's what it'll be like. So if I log in as this user, that'll be the authenticated user. If they were to click my link, then they'll go to my user profile. But if this user clicked their own, then they would go to their own dashboard. And that's how I want to set this up. Temporarily, what I want to do is I want to release that authenticated user to this list here so that we'll be able to test that that works appropriately. Now in here, if we go back to the member controller, we can do that. So I'm going to get rid of this line for right now. And this way we'll have all of the users listed here. I want to create a controller so that we can create a page and have access to going to that user's page. Now to set this up, I want to create a controller for the profiles. So we'll do PHP artisan, make controller social, and then I'll call it user profile controller, and I'll make it invocable. Great, so we have it here. Go ahead and save that. We'll go over to the web routes and create that route. So I'm going to just do it here. This will be user profile. I am going to put root model binding in here because I want the page to go to the user's username. So we have to make sure to pass that into the invocable function. Okay, that was imported correctly. And I'm just going to call it profiles. So we'll pass in the user. And then we'll do return inertia, render, social, user profile. And then we're going to pass this in as a profile. And then we're going to say that that equals the user. This is just temporary. Let's go ahead and create that page. So we'll come down to close this. I'll just copy it from here and then we'll take out everything. For now, I'm just going to get rid of all this stuff because we're not really going to be needing it. For the title, it'll be user profile. And I'm going to put a hashtag in there because these don't really go anywhere. And actually, I'm going to do the same thing for this thing. So that's good there. Define props. I'm going to see if I can get rid of this now. Profile. This is no longer an array. This will be temporarily user profile. And I'm going to get rid of this for right now. So now we can just do profile. Hopefully that should work okay. Now, when we come up to the members, we can add that link to this card. Apologies if you hear thunder. We are having a storm at the moment. Profiles, make sure to import it from the routes. And then we can now do member.username. And that should go there. Okay. So let's take a look at the browser and see. I'm going to refresh that. And now if you click, we can go to this user. As you can see, username equals mimezim. Mimezim is the profile that it's going to. If we come here, because that was the authenticated user, we'll click here, username Orland Lebsack, and that's correct. Great. So now we can get back and forth to those pages and we should be good to go. Now, before we turn off the ability to have the authenticated user here, I want to set it up so that we get redirected if we click the authenticated user. So if I click my name here, I want to make sure that I can't go here, that I get redirected to the dashboard instead. Now let's go back to the profile controller, the one that we just created. And we can make some statements in here. So we'll say if user ID equals auth ID, we can return to route dashboard. And that's pretty much it. So let's give that a try. Oh, I need to change this. So not only do we have a response, we're going to have a redirect response. So we're just adding it on there. Okay, so right now we're on the dashboard. Let's go to the members page. Let's go to Murphy, Chaos, Carlos, Murphy, Carlos. And that's where we're redirected up here. And if we come over here to the user, the dashboard is where we're being sent to appropriately. So I'm going to leave this user here for the moment and we'll deal with taking them out later on. Now, something I want to do too is just like we did with the members page where we just were limiting what information was put in here, I want to do the same thing here because we don't need the two-factor and all this stuff in here or the email, anything like that we don't need in here. We can go ahead and limit what we have up here too. Now, the easiest way to do that is to change up what we're passing in as a user. I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to call it profile. And then I'm going to say that that equals user where ID equals user ID. We'll say first, and then we'll just grab the ID, avatar, username. Now, instead of this here, we can pass in this. Make sure I got all those fields correct. Let's see, console view. It's because this stuff is supposed to be an array. Okay, so again, we have the avatar, the ID, and the username, just like intended. Now, the other thing I want to do also is I want to convert this page. I want to convert it to a controller because right now we're just returning it as an inertia page. And the reason I want to do this is because we're going to be dealing with posts and stuff from the dashboard. So I want to have something a little bit less like this. See, it's returning it as a page. So we can take it as this. And I'm not going to put it in the social folder. I'm going to just leave it where the welcome folder is. It's also going to be invocable. So if we come up here, then it is right here. And that's what we can use instead of that return. All it is that page. So I'm going to change this to get. Everything else is the same, or it should be. Let's go and return that view. What is it? Dashboard? I think it's just dashboard. We'll take a look real quick and see. I prefer doing uppercase and Inertia prefers doing lowercase. So we have that here. Okay, let's just go and make sure that this hasn't broken. Refresh, we're all good. Console, we are all good. Now I want to get rid of this stuff and then have our authenticated users information in here, just like we did for the profiles. Now we have that here. I want to go ahead and also put that here. We won't have to pass in that authenticated user into this because if we go over to view and we go to that page, you can see that we already have our auth user in here. This is a global thing that we have. Even if we come up to this inertia up here, you can see we're already passing in those props, and that's something that we can use here. So we can do props, auth, user, what have you. Let's go and do that. Now, the easiest way to do this is to just go up to the view. Go ahead and close that. And then I'm gonna move these over a bit. We're not going to need that. And this I'm going to take from here. I don't understand these breadcrumbs because I can't get them to work accordingly. Yeah, that's that. And then I can get rid of this here. We'll just say auth. So what are we going to do? Well, we need to grab those properties. So we can do const page equals use page. And this use page is going to be coming from inertia view 3. It's right up here. It's already been imported. The next thing I want to do is create another property called auth. And this is going to equal a computed property from view. And we'll say that that equals page props auth user. Make sure those were both imported appropriately. And they were. Move this over. And so now we have that auth available here. And as you can see, everything we need here is correct. We have the username, and because it is just the auth user and we're not specifying any specific fields, these are displaying here. If we go to members, go to another user, and then that user's information is displayed here. And if we go here, back to our dashboard, everything is displayed appropriately. If you're enjoying the content, please go ahead and click that like button, as it really does help out the channel. Here's a video YouTube thinks you'll like, and here's a playlist to follow along. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.